What's the word, squad, and welcome back for another reaction. Listen, man, you know, I've always had this fascination with space. The way it was, the way I learned about it in school, it always piqued my imagination. You know what I'm saying? So when I think about space and they talk about how vast, how large it is, how big these galaxies are, and billions of light years, it used to always have me thinking like, it ain't no way we the only species. Now, that could be whatever type, whatever other type. Humans like us, I don't know. Life forms, civilizations, I don't know. But the way they describe space to be, I think is very likely. You know what I'm saying? I can't, that's, you know what I mean? I think it's very likely that it could be other life forms, to say the least. We definitely about to take a look at this joint. We gonna see how we really size up to the universe. So, without further ado, you already know. Let's get into it, man. Let's see what they talking about out here in space.
Is Earth. You live here on this planet somewhere, and everything that you've ever known is located right here. But just how small exactly is Earth when compared to the scale of the entire universe? Let's start by zooming out to where we can see our nearest cosmic neighbor, the Moon. You may think that the Moon is very close to Earth since it dominates our night skies, but in reality the Moon isn't this close to our planet, it's actually about this far away. 384,400 kilometers away from you.
Instantly, right off the bat, just like I said, I just want to put this into perspective. The way I learned about space is that it's a space, right? It's literally just space. The first thing they show is the moon, 238,000 plus miles away from the earth. All right. Okay.
Right now, on average, you could fit 30 entire Earths in between this distance, and if you somehow were able to drive a car at a constant 100 kilometers per hour speed, it would take you about 160 days to drive the entire distance.
160
Despite this
days?
incredible distance, however, 12 humans have actually set foot here, representing the furthest away that any individual human has ever been away from the Earth, and one of humanity's greatest achievements.
I
This is what
wonder
the Earth would look like
how
from there
that's
if
going
you
to
were
look like in
standing
the
there with
future. I wonder at what point, if any, of our existence are we going to be able to set foot further than this point.
them. And if you wanted to communicate with somebody back at home, it would take a message about 2.5 seconds to travel between you and them, since that's how fast the speed of light can travel at. This is a photo that was taken on Mars, and that tiny dot that you see there is Earth as seen from the Martian surface. On average, Mars is an incredible
That joint was a
225
speckle
million
of light.
kilometers away from Earth, but that distance can be as high as 401 million kilometers. That means that whenever humanity finally gets around to landing a human on the planet, that person will be 986 times further away from Earth than the astronauts who landed on the moon were.
We just simply don't have the technology.
From Mars back to
And
Earth.
once we start having the technology where somebody can literally be like, I'm going to this planet G3119-A, we gonna have a lot of questions that need to be answered. Yeah, cause we just ain't got the technology to do it. I would love to see it.
Isn't just 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, I would love to
It's
see it
actually
for sure.
more like 20 minutes each direction, which would render instant communication in the event of an emergency impossible. When we zoom out even further away, we can find the Voyager 1 space probe, which is the furthest away man-made object from Earth. It is currently located 138 AUs from the Earth.
What's a AU?
Meaning astronomical unit, which is the distance
Astronomical
between
unit.
the Earth and the Sun, which means that Voyager 1 is 138 times further away from us than the Sun is. At some point on its long voyage, Voyager 1 turned its camera around and took this photograph. It may not look like much at first, but in my opinion, this is the greatest single photograph ever taken in all of human history.
Okay.
This tiny, pale blue dot is Earth, and I don't think that anybody has ever said something as amazing about this as Carl Sagan when he said, "If you look at it, you see a dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it,
That's
everyone
crazy.
you've ever heard of, every human being who ever lived out their lives. The aggregate of
On that dot in a vast solar system, right? So what about the other dot? So if you look that way in the camera, you see that blue dot. Oh, it's Earth. But what about if you look that way, you see like a red dot? Is it people there?
all our joys and sufferings, thousands
Is it
of
beings
confident
there?
religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and every forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilizations, every king and every
Triple H?
peasant, every young couple in love, every hopeful child, every mother and every father, every inventor and explorer,
Yes.
every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species live
Right.
there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. Voyager 1 is currently traveling at 17 kilometers every
Man,
single
I can't
second,
even
but even
fathom.
at that speed, it won't break out of the reach
I would
of
never
our
want to
solar
go to
system for
space, but
another
I'm intrigued by
30,000
it. That's the most I
years.
can give it.
Once we go beyond the solar system, we arrive in our interstellar neighborhood.
Okay, so let's talk about it. We arrive in our interstellar neighborhood. Okay, so we got Hades, we got Jim, we got Sirius, we got, you know what I'm saying? We got all these different, I want to say, I don't know if they galaxies. They might be galaxies. Whatever they are, they outside of Earth. We understand that much. What's there?
Here we shift to the light year unit of measurement, which is the distance that light travels in a full Earth year, or about 9.461 trillion kilometers. The star Proxima Centauri here is the closest other star to us other than our sun, but
Is
it's
it?
still 4.24 light years away from us. To put that into perspective, if it was
How
heading
do
in the
y'all
right
get these
direction, it would
measurements?
still take Voyager 1 over 70,000 years to reach it. In other words, if you drove your car at 100 kilometers an hour like in our previous example to the moon, it would take over 6 times longer than the entire age of the universe is just to
that's
finally
cooked.
get there, and it wouldn't even
That's
exist still
cooked.
when you arrived.
Nah.
When we zoom out even further, we can see the entire Milky Way galaxy, inside of which Earth is located right here. This yellow dot is the furthest extent of humanity's radio broadcasts throughout.
Look at that. Okay, let's say we're the yellow dots. All of that space right there is other potential things, right? You might have something in there where it's just water, right? It's just water. It's a planet covered in water, and it's all. What kind of predators live in that deep ocean there, in that planet where it's no land, it's just water somehow miraculously.
About history, which means that any possible aliens who live outside of this range are totally more fantastic than we can possibly ever imagine.
Now, what type of
We simply don't know.
beings? Well, listen, come on, man. At some point, I guess it's unlimited, but I mean, damn. Once you get out of all that, what type of beings, or if they're, what type of anything would live in a space like that? Wherever that is, let's just say for the sake of this reaction, once you get past all of those galaxies and you flip them up, you flip the matrix inside out, now you went to particle
What else
dust.
is out there? Because the light from these incredibly distant places has
I don't
not
know,
yet
it just
had
gets
enough
dark,
time in the
I
universe's
guess.
history to reach us yet back on Earth. And the light from some places may never reach us at all. Because some parts of space very far away from Earth are
Yeah.
expanding away from us faster than the speed of light, that means that the light from these places will never, in an infinite amount of time, reach Earth.
Right.
Meaning that even if humanity is eternal and exists forever, there will still be an unknown number of places in the universe that we will never know about or ever see.
Right.
So, it is very likely that as unbelievably enormous as it seems, the observable universe is just a tiny slice of what we can currently see of the entire universe. According to the theory of cosmic inflation that was proposed by Dr. Alan Guth, if it is assumed that cosmic inflation began at 10 to the negative 37th of a second after the Big Bang, and with the assumption that the size of the universe before inflation began was equal to its age times the speed...
I could never give you an example of that, but it's faster than a thought, probably.
...of light, then this would seem to suggest that at the present day, the entire universe is 150 sextillion times larger than the observable
Who's coming
universe.
up with these
That
number
for
names?
reference looks like this, with this many zeros. Let this number sink in for just a moment. This
Okay.
would be similar to you thinking that the entire observable universe, everything that you could see, was the size of a light bulb, but then realizing that in reality the entire universe is larger than the former planet of Pluto. Imagine a light bulb in the center of Pluto, but we inside the light bulb were totally unaware that Pluto existed outside of it, and that's a similar situation to this. We are all so unbelievably small, but you shouldn't worry, because all that means is that there is so much left out there for us to discover
Right.
together.
Alright, man, so that's gonna wrap this joint up. Y'all let me know how y'all felt about that video in the comments below, man. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. But yeah, I don't know, it's too much space, you know, that they talk about for it not to be any other type of life forms out there, whether it be a mammal type, you know, something that we would call a mammal. It could be something else, you know what I'm saying? It could be a germ. It don't necessarily got to be a cat, a dog, or a person. It could be any type of organism. We don't even know the name for it because it's just out there. But yeah, man, I think they need to leave it where it's at. We don't want to play with that kind of stuff. Yeah, y'all can go ahead and leave that in them galaxies over there. We don't really want to get too close to them because they might you know, they might see something they like over here, and we don't want that. You know what I mean? We just living our best life over here. We don't need nothing in 47 quintillion, sextillion light years away. We could just leave it there. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think I speak for all of us on that one. Yeah. As usual, man. Until next time.